Hello and welcome to iBuzz. Today's special episode is about paying a tribute to the birthday boy, Antonio Banderas, followed by a movie review on Catch Me If You Can. But first things first, let me quickly take you to the top stories of the day. Jennifer Hudson earns praise for Aretha Franklin biopic. Spanish legend and Hollywood Antonio Banderas turns 61 years young. New Orleans Jazz Fest cancels 2021 event due to COVID-19. Dwayne Johnson reminisces over Jungle Cruise's success that is 20 years in the making. Johnny Depp to be honored with Donostia Award at San Sebastian Film Festival. And now moving to our top story of the day. Today, Antonio Banderas turns 61. Born on August 10th, Antonio Banderas is a Spanish actor, director, producer, and surprisingly, a singer. He is the recipient of numerous accolades, including a Cannes Best Actor Award and European Film Award for Best Actor, as well as nominations for a Tony Award, an Academy Award, 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, and 5 Golden Globe Awards. To pay him a birthday tribute, we are joined by TV presenter Jean-Paul. Jean, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and good morning, and hello, or good evening, I should say.
A Spanish legend that opened the doors of hope in Hollywood for many other non-English-speaking actors. How would you sum up his skills as an actor?
I think for me, Antonio is so versatile. I mean, that's the word that comes to mind. He's probably not for me one of the greatest actors out there, but his versatility is incredible. I mean, I'll just say one title: Puss in Boots.
Yes. And he seems to be very lucky right from the beginning of his career, as he met the Latin director Pedro Almodovar, who featured him in his films throughout 1980s. Can we say this is where skill meets luck?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there is a bit of luck involved. Clearly meeting, if you meet certain people, then there's a little bit of luck in there. Meeting people like Pedro, meeting people like, Madonna, further down the line, all those things help. But, you got to have skill in the first place. If you meet somebody like Pedro and you don't have any skill, then you're not going to catch his attention, are you?
Absolutely.
The reason that, he was very young at the time. I mean, he's a bit older now. He was very young at the time. And I mean, he caught the attention because his stage presence and performance was just that good. He was only sort of 19, 20, I think, at the time. So, when you're younger, you do attract the attention of people because you're younger and fresher. But you've got to have the skill there as well. And he clearly had that skill from a young age.
Absolutely. And he proved himself to be quite a daring personality. While he was very young, he was a theater actor who got caught several times while the Spanish Revolution, but still he stood consistent. How would you like to comment on that?
I mean, consistency is I think the key to quality. And people like that who've come from a difficult background, especially in that time, being from a kind of Latin origin, you've got a thick accent, strong accent. You've got a certain look and a certain, even certain sexuality. And, you're always running against, the tide in terms of not only public perception, but also legally as well, some of the things that allow. So, he's had a lot of challenges, yet despite that, he's had that tenacity to be able to stand there. There's a little bit of luck in being spotted and supported there, but he's had that tenacity, the strength of character to continue throughout his whole career.
Right. And John, let's talk about some of his remarkable performances in the movies that he gave to Hollywood as a stamp of his versatility. Specifically, The Mask of Zorro, Philadelphia, Assassins, and Desperado. I hope that you've seen all these movies. So what are your thoughts about these movies and his performance exclusively?
I've seen most of his films. I mean, I think initially he was in the Kings, the Kings Mumbo Kings. And sometimes I think with his earlier films, I struggled a little bit because he had a very thick accent, but he made it up in his character.
Yeah.
You know, he's very flamboyant, if you like. So I think his early films, for me, were probably not as well versed as an actor, but he was very, very, you know, it's very, very flamboyant. And then in Philadelphia, again, you know, with Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, he held his own. I mean, these are huge actors in Hollywood, and he was the new person. But Philadelphia, you know, and then Interview with the Vampire, I think it was, with and the Vampire Chronicles. You know, again, you know, brilliant. He started to improve as an actor. You could see him really improving. His English was getting better. And then, of course, was it with Madonna? It was Evita, I think it was. And again, you know, because it was different people, it was different types of genre, types of film, and he started to show his versatility in his character. You know, then you've got, for me, the Zorro, you know, the Mask of Zorro, that was absolutely, again, fantastic. He had that. Did you notice the similarity between Zorro and that kind of, again, flamboyancy with the sword and Puss in Boots?
Exactly. Yes. There is a connection
you know,
between the two characters.
Absolutely. There was a strong connection between those two characters, you know, because he's used real swords. And again, Puss in Boots was with the sword. So again, he showed that character. So, you know, I think over the years, he's worked with a number of people. He's established himself quite quickly. It's quite easy to fall out with Hollywood as you go through so quickly. But he managed to work hard and hold his own throughout without all these actors until eventually he's come across the animation of Puss in Boots. So, yeah, very, very good actor.
And his versatility is something that fascinates me. Throughout his journey, you will find him in roles absolutely different from one another. He appeared as a protagonist, anti-hero, played as a comedian in kids' movies like Spy Kids and Puss in Boots. So how do you see him as a versatile actor, and how would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, as I said, I think his versatility is one of his greatest strengths. I think, to be fair, I think that's probably a cultural element. You know, when you come from certain backgrounds, as I said, the Latin backgrounds, you know, Spanish, Latin, South America, they're usually quite versatile people. They're hardworking, they've come from poverty, they're hungry, and, you know, they're willing to work. And I think he's always had that ethos, very hard worker. And as you know, if you come from a background where you're hungry, but you're willing to work hard, you will do just about anything you can.
Absolutely.
But the difference with Antonio is that not only is he willing to do that, but also he's got the skill and he works hard to try and develop himself in those areas. So yeah, you're right. His versatility is probably, as I said, one of his greatest you know, skills in acting, but also in real life. If you have a look where he's established himself very well with those actors, he's very, very close with Madonna at one point. You know, he got married to Melanie Griffiths, the actress in America. So even though he's a very strong character, you know, he still manages to cross those lines in acting and in his personal life.
Absolutely. In your opinion, John, what are the traits an emerging talent can learn from Antonio's career?
Well, I think, you know, it's probably slightly different times now to the challenges that he had as a person back then entering Hollywood. Very similar to Arnold Schwarzenegger with, you know, his Austrian background and his accent. But I think today the challenges are different. What we can learn from Antonio is that no matter what the challenges are, there is always somebody who's going to make it if they have hard work and they're spotted for their perseverance. And I think that's what we see with Antonio, you know, perseverance. He's not the only one. There are many actors, you know, black actors, Asian actors, Chinese actors, who are part of a small demographic that make it worldwide in Hollywood. Look at Jackie Chan in something like Rush Hour. But what we can learn from Antonio is that that part of the world can be represented well. And if you work hard, you can do anything.
Absolutely. And by wishing him a very happy birthday, I thank you, Jean, for joining us.
Yeah, it's good that he can celebrate his birthday. I think last year he had Corona. He couldn't celebrate his birthday last year because
so here we are celebrating his birthday today.
Yeah, so hopefully he can celebrate his birthday day without Corona, without no lockdowns, hopefully, and he's in the best of health. Let's hope. Let's wish him that. Let's wish him well and happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Thank you very much, Jean, for joining us.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. That was Jean-Paul paying a birthday tribute to Antonio Banderas. And now moving to other story details of the day. Jennifer Hudson's performance in the Aretha Franklin biopic Respect has been praised by critics, but the film as a whole has received mixed reviews. The movie is released in the UK next month. According to the magazine The Hollywood Reporter, Respect gives the Queen of Soul the regal treatment she deserves. But Screen Daily said that the movie resorts to a highlight reel approach that reduces meaningful moments to mere stops along her biography. Rising cases of COVID-19 in Louisiana have led to the cancellation of the New Orleans Jazz Fest for the second year running. The annual Jazz Festival will not take place as a result of the current exponential growth of new COVID cases in New Orleans and the ongoing public health emergency. Previously announced acts for this year's Jazz Fest included the Rolling Stones, which was scheduled to play the 2019 festival and had to cancel due to an illness from Mick Jagger. Other acts that were booked for the 2021 Jazz Fest included Foo Fighters, Lizzo, and Dead & Company. Hollywood actor Dwayne Johnson recently turned to social media and celebrated the success of his Jungle Cruise film that's been a 20-year career dream come true. Award-winning actor Dwayne Johnson takes to social media to celebrate the career dream that has achieved through Jungle Cruise. The actor gushes over his success in a video-based Instagram post that read, "It has been a real joy to share how Jungle Cruise has been a 20-year career dream come true." Hollywood actor Johnny Depp will be honored a San Sebastian Film Festival award amid controversy surrounding allegations of abuse involving his ex-wife, Amber Heard. Depp graced the festival last year to present A Crock of Gold, a few rounds with Shane McGowan. He has also attended in 1998 with his Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas director Terry Gilliam. The honor comes amid Depp's ongoing $50 million defamation lawsuit against Heard. The Aquaman actress was granted a $7 million settlement in their divorce finalization in 2017. And that is it from our newsroom. We will be right back with a movie review on Catch Me If You Can. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Today we will review Catch Me If You Can. A notorious con artist, Frank, has duped people worth millions of dollars with his masterful art of deception. With his scams getting bolder, he's soon pursued by FBI agent Carl. To review the movie, we are joined by film critic Matt Capon. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So Matt, 2 hours and 21 minutes of sensation, a thrill, and suspense. Tell us about your initial thoughts on this movie.
This is best described as being a complete and utter caper. It's one of my guilty pleasures. I think it's a fantastic film. Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks are both at the top of their game. Leonardo DiCaprio really, you can tell he's having fun as Frank Abagnale Jr. He's completely loving the role that he's been cast in, and I think equally Tom Hanks as well, who where he's been cast as this very stern and very stoic FBI agent, Carl Hanratty, whose name was changed for the purposes of the film. he's clearly having fun because it almost harks back to the character that Dan Aykroyd played alongside Tom Hanks in Dragnet in the comedy in the early 80s. And I think they've got great chemistry together on film. And I really enjoyed it from start to finish. I thought it was a great, great film. And it actually made me read the book it was based on.
Yes, yes. And the story revolves around an invincible criminal who eventually becomes everyone's favorite. And that sort of character development is indeed a challenge. I mean, this is something really interesting about this movie.
Yes, because when you really reduce it down, it's really about a son looking for the approval of his father. And Frank Abagnale says it himself. And Abagnale Sr., played by Christopher Walken, he plays it with just as much a creative flourish as Leonardo DiCaprio. And again, and this is where the film, I think, is successful, the cast have chemistry between each other. It's not just limited to the certain key players. Everyone has a dynamic that produces magic on screen.
Absolutely. And before creating a great movie, Steven Spielberg is known for creating a great cast. And that is what we see in Catch Me If You Can. The amazing duo of Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio is indeed a treat for their fans in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a little known fact that this is actually the first Steven Spielberg film that he's produced where the lead character, where it's been based on a true life story, is still alive. He had never, up until this point, produced a film where the lead was still breathing, was still with us, and that presented challenges in of itself. But the creativity that Steven Spielberg brought to the film, and the certain embellishments that he also brought to the film as well, weren't jarring. They actually made sense, which even Frank Abagnale himself admitted. Particularly the final scene between him and his father never happened in real life, but in the film it made perfect sense.
Yeah, and Matt, this is very interesting that this is probably the second or third time we are reviewing a Tom Hanks movie. I mean, throw Tom Hanks in as a supporting cast member or even, you know, a main lead role, that makes it even better. And then ultimately you've got Christopher Walken playing the father figure that also won him an Oscar nomination for the role. I mean, we were expecting Leonardo DiCaprio or even Tom Hanks, but turns out that there was someone else who's better than them, and that is Christopher Walken.
Well, I think, again, you can tell when a film is greater than the sum of its parts because every member of the cast has fun, and you can tell on screen. And Christopher Walken is clearly playing Christopher Walken on screen. You can just tell that he's loving every moment that he has on camera, from where he's being discovered as being a trolley dolly working on the airlines, to that final scene, that very, very heartfelt scene between him and Leonardo DiCaprio. You can tell he's just loving it, and he earned an Oscar nomination for his trouble. It says it all, really. It says it all.
Yes, and the element of spontaneousm in this movie is something that, you know, keeps you on hook, that what's going to happen next. I mean, of course, we have previously talked about the movies that are, you know, 2 hours or more than 2 hours long, but there's this element of spontaneous, you know, jumps that keeps the story going on. What is your take on that?
Well, what you'll find in this film is, and I hope that the viewers do go away and watch the film, but you'll see that there are certain cast members that will appear at very precise moments through the film, and it keeps you hooked. Jennifer Garner's very brief scene with Leonardo DiCaprio, that is cinema gold, and really something which quite rightly made it into the trailers. Martin Sheen was phenomenal. Amy Adams was incredible.
Yes.
But all of these characters appear so incredibly well throughout the film. The pacing is superb, and you always want to know, okay, where's he going next? When he escapes through the toilet, it's just incredible. It keeps you hooked again.
Exactly. And the most interesting part, of course, this is a spoiler that I'm about to give, is the end part where, you know, he becomes the hero automatically. Like at the end, everybody was expecting that, okay, this is the end, he's going to go to jail. But at the end, they made a very resourceful use of him and his skills. And, you know, they gave him a job. They offered him a job at FBI.
Oh, yes. But I think that also really bookends the maturity, the journey that Frank Abagnale Jr. went on from being a very naive, brash and creative fraudster, but understanding that life has an ending to it. You can't go on with that cavalier attitude. And you see the character grow on the screen. And that final scene between Frank Abagnale Jr. and Carl Hanratty just leaning over the table talking, that really, I think it's a beautifully crafted ending to the film. It shows a very deft touch from Steven Spielberg in my mind.
Absolutely. And the bonus feature shows what Frank looked in real life, and the comparisons from the movie to real life. I mean, the character that they chose for Frank, Leonardo DiCaprio, there is uncanny resemblance. What do you think of it?
That is a classic example of the right actor playing the right character at the right time. And again, that is purely from the eye of Steven Spielberg. The man has an eye for casting that is second to none. And as I said at the top of the review, this is Leonardo DiCaprio at the height of his powers. And it was a role he was born to play.
Absolutely. So Matt, your 3 reasons of recommending this movie, tell us about that.
Okay, my first reason for watching this movie is Leonardo DiCaprio. His performance, you see a growth on screen that no other actor would have been able to portray. It is so much fun to watch, to see him realise his innate ability to fraudulently create checks and be one of the best in the world at the time at it. He just completely embodies the character. There is a spirit of adventure to him where deep down, and no one would ever really want to admit it, you want to see Frank succeed. You want to see him get away with it. He was never going to, but part of you wants to see him be a success. Right. I think the second reason to watch it, I'd say would have to be, and it's a bit predictable, but Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is an absolute perfect foil to Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah. He is the very stern FBI agent who wants to bring down the perpetrator. He wants to be a success, but he's learning that actually this isn't a very seasoned criminal. It's a very young kid, and you see him adapt and change as the pursuit goes on, and it becomes very dogged. And I think his portrayal of the FBI agent is great. And the final reason to watch it, I think, is the actual overall feel of the film. It takes you back. It is a journey. It is a journey through time. Go on that journey. See what life was like in 50s America. Look at how society around him was around Frank Abagnale Jr. was changing. The scene of him walking through the hotel lobby, flanked by the flight attendants. That's a scene that should live on in the memory. And just sit back and have fun. It's a great film to just sit back and enjoy.
Right. Matt, it's always fun reviewing movies with you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks a lot.
That was Matt Capon reviewing the 2003 movie Catch Me If You Can. And that is it from today's episode. We hope you liked it. Don't forget to share your feedback on the social media link mentioned down below. We'll see you next time. Take care and goodbye.